everyone and welcome back to my class. As you know that I am Halimunisa, teacher and junior lecturer of Ahlibeth High School and Junior College. So after the problems of urbanization, in our topic we will discuss about the Erythropolis. Here what is Erythropolis? We will see. A new kind of settlement is happening in many countries including India. These settlements are centered around the large airports. So that's why the name Erythropolis or airport city. Okay. The airport functions as a city in its own right. Many facilities like hotels, shoppings, entertainment, food, business conferencing, etc. are provided right there. People can fly in, conduct their business with their counterparts right there and fly out with all the comforts of the city without the traffic and the other problems. Exactly. Some form of Erythropolises are the emerging in these places in India like Kempegowda International Airport in Bengaluru, Indira Gandhi International Airport in Delhi and Rajiv Gandhi International Airport in Hyderabad. So the examples of emerging Erythropolis includes the Swarnabhumi International Airport, Bangkok or Thailand, Dubai International Airport, Dubai or UAE, and the Cairo International Airport, Cairo or Egypt, and the London Heathrow Airport in London or UK. Okay. In India, the history and the geographical features are the reason for the expansion of a settlement and migration of people is the another reason. Okay. After understanding about the settlement in detail, now we will go with the migrations. Migrations means the people moving from their places to other place to search of better opportunities is called migrations. Here the migration rises out of various social, economic or the political reasons also. Okay. Here the major and the classified migration patterns are birthplace and the last usual place of residence. Okay. For identifying a person as a migrant, two criteria are used by the census, and that is the birthplace. In birthplace, it means place where the person was born, and in the last usual place of residence means a place where the person had stayed continuously for a period of at least 6 months or more. Okay. In India, according to the census of 2011, about 307 million people have been reported as migrants. Okay. Migrations can happen due to many reasons. While female report marriage as the most common reason for migration, employment or seeking employment is the most common reason for the male to migrate. Dissatisfaction with employment opportunities in the native place is better opportunities for studies and the losses in business and the family affairs etc. are also some of the other reasons that people have stated as a reason for migration in the census surveys. Okay. After the classified migration patterns, now we will discuss that the seasonal and the temporary migrations. Okay. According to the National Census Surveys, every fourth people in India is a migrant. During 2001 to 2011, migration increases but not as such as in the 1980s. This may be within a state or outside that has examined the statistics of the rural urban migrations and the multiple reasons for migrations. So, it is significant to note that the rural to rural migration is increased, but in some of these may not be captured by census. But some of these may be not captured by the census data because the period of stay is often less than the 6 months. The number of seasonal migrants is underestimated in India due to limitation in the definition of the term migrant used in the national surveys. Okay. In migration, there are different types of migrations are there. So, we will discuss it one by one in detail. The first type of migration is rural to rural migration. Okay. In rural to rural migration, Maharashtra is one of the populous states of India which produce sugar. It has 186 cooperative sugar factories. Okay. The large scale sugar cultivation began here in the earlier in 1970s after the Koyna Dam was built. A study estimates that about 6,50,000 laborers migrate from central western Maharashtra for sugarcane cutting each year. Maharashtra for sugarcane cutting in each year, or among these around 2 lakh are children in the school are age group of 6 to 14 years. They come with their family members. Here the sugarcane cutters camp for the season is clearing the earmarked by factories. These are in the vicinity of the fields. Each family is provided with the bamboo mats and poles also. A large section of rural workers migrate for a short duration and particularly due to distress caused in rural areas. They are mainly agricultural laborers or marginal farmers. In their places of origin, the mostly belong to the low income households, Dalits and Adivasis are there. So, the National Commission of Rural Labor, its report in 1990s found that, so here the National Commission of Rural Labor is here the National Commission of Rural Labor in its report in 1990s has found that uneven development and the regional disparity triggered and the accelerated reasons to accelerated seasonal migrations. In some of tribal areas, incidents of outsiders and the displacement of people for construction of dams and mining have increased distress the seasonal migration. Exactly. So, see this pie chart and observe that social background of short-term migration in India during the period of 2007 to 2008. So, in agriculture sector, the employees go to the native place of migrants and recruit them. The contractors, traders who belong to the same caste, community or source are used by the employers of Keris in Delhi, and coffee plantation of Karnataka and the farming in Punjab also. Such workers come with the workers who have already migrated. Contractors retain the part of the migrants' earning apart from the payment they receive from employers. Sometimes the contractors are also work as supervisors. After the rural to rural migration, now we will discuss about the rural to urban migrations. Okay. People migrate from urban areas mainly due to the insufficient employment opportunities and inadequate income available in the rural employment. Exactly. So that the people also migrate with the expectation of higher income and more opportunities for family members and maybe the better services. Here people also migrate with the expectations of high income and more opportunities for family members and maybe the better services. Okay, here the most urban migrants have to work as the laborers and find the employment in unorganized sector. They could be working as hawkers, painters, repair persons and the rickshaw pullers and the construction laborers, etc. So, the people from the rural areas move to the cities and towns to work in industries and other service activities. Okay, this has been recognized as a natural reason to increase their income and for the better family prospects, of course. In this process, they have opportunities for education, new jobs, and to acquire the new skills. Town also appear to offer a greater freedom and somewhat less discrimination based on the caste and gender also. So many more to urban areas, more out of the desperation and not having the adequate employment opportunities in the rural areas. For this reason, for these people, living conditions in slum in towns and cities are worse because the space is cramped and even the basic facilities such as drinking water and the sanitation are not available for them. These people are not able to find jobs in organized sector. So therefore there is no job security and the decent income that they were aspiring for. They continue to live as daily workers to fulfill their achievements and to earn their livelihood. Okay. Here the many families have residence both at their origin means native place and at the destination. They shifted between the two places depending on their work and seasons. Migration does not necessarily involve movement of all the members of the family and often the wife remains in the rural areas. Okay. Here the urban migrants are different job searching mechanism depending upon their skills and educational qualifications. Contacts and networks are crucial for getting the urban jobs. Exactly. In fact, the villagers are the pre-arrange the jobs from the rural areas and come to the urban areas through their contacts and networks only. They keep close ties with their rural areas for the variety of reasons. Migrants also pass on the urban opportunities to the rural areas so that the potential migrants can engage in rural based job search. In most cases, the migration is the survival strategy for many families. Of course, after all these, after the rural to the urban migration, now we will discuss about the international migration. Okay. 1/3 of the world's 200 million international migrants, less than 70 million people, according to the United Nations Development Program, that is UNDP, have moved from one developing country to another. Here the international migrations from India is of two types, and what are they? We will discuss now. Okay. People with the technical skills and the professional experts have migrated to the countries such as USA, Canada, United Kingdom, Australia and other developed countries. Okay. IT professionals, doctors and the management professionals are an example of these type. Okay. Indians migrating to countries such as UK and Canada in 1950s and in 1960s were unskilled, whereas in the later years the mostly professional went to these countries. In recent times, the Indian professional also go to the countries such as Germany, Norway, Japan and Malaysia. But in the 1950s, about the 10,000 persons a year went to the developed countries, and in 1990s this has increased to more than 60,000 a year. Okay. The second type of international migration is unskilled and semi-skilled workers migrating to the oil exporting countries of the West Asia on temporary contracts. Almost of all these workers come back after a specific period depending on the employment situation in the destination countries. Okay. During the last few decades, like Saudi Arabia and UAE, United Arab Emirates, have been important destinations for the most of the 3 million Indian workers in the West Asia. Every year more than 3 lakh workers migrate to West Asia. Nearly 3/5 of the workers going to the West Asia are from Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. Considerable the section of these workers are engaged in construction projects, maintenance, services, transport and telecommunications and etc. Okay. After international migration, now we will see what happened when people migrate. Okay. Here the migrant laborers spend more on food as they cannot get food grains from the fair price shops at their workplaces. As they live in harsh circumstances and unhygienic conditions, they suffer from health problems and are prone to disease. Those working in quarries, bricklines and the construction sites and the mines suffer from the body ache, sunstroke, skin irritation and the lungs disease. Okay. When employer do not follow the safety measures, accidents in industrial area and the construction sites are also common. Migrants are not able to access a various health and the family care program as they do not belong to the organized sector. In this case of women migrant workers, there is no maternity leaves. This means they have to go back to work soon after childbirth. When families migrate, children accompanying their parents do not have the correct facilities. Grown-up children are not able to continue their studies at the parents' new workplace. So the schools in the native place refuse to take them again when they come back. Okay, finally they become dropouts. When male leave their families, it is also a major challenge for women who have to take care of all the responsibilities of the family and elderly people who need care. The young girls in such families are required to take care of siblings and many of them become dropout for this reason. So, the migration leaves a considerable mark on the migrants also. Exposed to the different environment, stress associated with it leave a deep impact on migrants. This also depends on the length of migration. Most migrants and particularly those going for a long term send their remittance. Here the remittance means the payments. In some regions of India, nearly 1/3 of households depend on the remittance sent by their migrant members. Majority of the seasonal migrants either remit or bring back the savings. Migration allows household to meet debts and other obligations without having to sell assets. It is also common to find the migrant families buying house, land, agriculture machinery and the consumer durables. Okay. Some migrants might take up jobs in the destination and accuse the skills required in the destination area because aware of how to get a regular job and they migrate regularly or permanently. Okay. After this, we will discuss and we will come to know the detail in the monitoring of international migration. The Immigration Act 1983 is the Indian law governing migration and employment of Indians in abroad. Okay. It is also lays out the conditions to safeguard the interest of the workers and the immigrating for employment. Here the embassies set up by the Indian government in different countries are expected to follow the legal procedures and protect the welfare of the international migrants. Okay. As per given in the Immigration Act. At the time, the migrants workers are not paid their salaries and the requirement agents cheat the prospective workers or collect more than the prescribed fees for the role in getting the work for the workers in abroad. Employers are terminate the job and contract before it's expired. Change the employment contract to the disadvantage of migrant workers, pay less than the agreed salary and freeze the fringe benefits and other perks. Okay. They often force workers to do the overtime without making the additional payments and deny the permission to keep one's own part. So here the Indian migrant workers, they seldom lodge any complaint against their foreign employers for the fear of losing their jobs. So this is the way of monitoring of international migration. Here see the national boundaries are protected against the migrants. Here are the example of USA on Mexican border, okay, South Korea on North Korean border, okay, and India on Bangladesh border. See and observe these boundaries. So by this we have completed our 7th chapter, that is settlement and migration. Through this topic we have come to know and understand the meanings of the terms like settlement and megacities, erythropolis, and the urbanization and the metropolitan city, and the migration, immigration and the immigration, the seasonal migration and the borders, and the lifestyle change with the settlements, and the unorganized workers, and about the dropouts, how the dropouts has taken place, rural to urban migration and the rural to rural migration, and the skilled workers and unskilled workers, and the internally migration and internationally migration also we have understood by this our lesson, which is named as settlement and migrations. Here the meaning of immigration and immigration means the action of coming to live permanently in a foreign country, and the immigration means the act of one's own country to settle the permanently in other or moving to abroad. All these points we have understood through our lesson, that is settlement and migration. Thank you.